Good morning. It is Friday, and I do apologize just right off because I did say that I was going to come back either Wednesday or Thursday. Things have just been a little busy. Um, uh, as you can tell, I've been working on projects. This is a sign for my new business, a store that I'm going to be opening soon, and I decided to make my own signs to go on the side of the building. And this is one of two of these. One's already ready to go, and this one's nowhere near ready to go. But yeah, so this has been one of my projects this week that I've just kind of been bouncing back and forth with, along with a lot of other things. But time just kind of got away with me, and I'd got to the point to where, especially at the end of the night, whenever I would just come in here to just work, and after everything was said and done for the day, that I was ready to just put on, to be completely honest, Gold Rush. I went back to season one and I started rewatching them all over again. That's one of my favorite shows. So I just kind of went back, put on Gold Rush, and just kind of let it play in the background, and have been working. And so it is day 40. Y'all, I can't believe it, because 40 days for a lot of people, maybe really not much. Like, it may not be a big deal, but for me to have been consistent and stick with something um, like this for 40 days, it's only been very few things in my life that I have uh, kind of had to break habits. I'm consistent in a lot of things, but as far as like breaking bad habits, there's only really one that sticks out to me that I can say I did that, and that was quitting vaping. Um, we I'm going to try to sound like I'm using excuses, but it's just the truth of where my mindset was at the time. And my husband did play a little bit of a piece in this, and I don't want to get off track, but today is kind of addressing a couple of things, because I've had, since my last video, a lot of comments. And I have chit-chatted back and forth with a lot of people. Some of the comments I may have taken a little bit wrong at first, and then after kind of conversating, I kind of understand where people are coming from, but at the same time, there's a lot of comments that I just feel like there is a little more information that is needed, and also just to kind of address how I feel. It's a little harder to articulate exactly what I'm trying to say and convey through comment section. So that's what this is going to be. This may be, just putting this out there, this may be a longer video, and this is going to have a lot of talking, which brings me to the first comment that I want to address. I don't know, I just stopped myself from taking off on another story because of this comment. I had a bad habit of taking off on these videos and just talk, 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 talk. I like to talk, and this, to me, this is a video diary. This is a way for me to, whatever's rolling around in here, get it out. So when I start, I may say, I'm going to keep this under 10 minutes, or I'm going to keep this under 15 minutes, and the next thing I know it's 30, because just whatever pops into my head is what I start discussing. So it does tend to go a long way. And I had somebody comment, and now it's funny. At the when I first saw it, I was like, well, that's kind of rude, but now I'm good. But they had said that they liked the content, but who ordered a Yappuccino? Clever. Like, I kind of want, like, my coffee mug to say Yappuccino across the front now. But they're not wrong. they were kind of pointing out constructive criticism in their own way, that I need to just get on with the information at the beginning, and then if people decide to stick around afterwards and listen to whatever else I have to say, then, they can, but just kind of get to the nitty gritty. So that is what I'm going to do. For my weight, we are still stalled, y'all. I have no idea at what point we're going to break past this plateau. All right, so today is February 9th. So we have been stalled since the third week in January. So like January 20-something is about the time that I hit that 214 point, and I have been bouncing back and forth 214 to 216, because I did have a couple in there that bounced up to like 216 even or 216.1, stuff like that. But basically, I've been bouncing back and forth mainly 214, 215, 214, 215, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That is still the case. I don't know. And this is the reason why, because I'm not only weighing, I'm also once a week measuring on Sundays to see if there's any progression in my measurements. Now, I am working out. We are working out 3 and 4 days a week. And I do know that when you work out, you are risking the possibility of kind of delaying the weight loss, because then you're going to have that shift from fat to muscle. And so even though you're becoming leaner and you're building that muscle, your scale is not going to reflect that, because while you're taking away something, you're adding something right back. So that's a possibility as to why I'm plateaued. Another possibility is maybe I do need to make an adjustment. I'm not really there yet. I'm not ready to make an adjustment yet, and this is why. The measurements are still trending downwards. I have all of my measurements wrote down, and I measure once a week, and every single week I have lost more in size, like in my measurements. It's continuously going down. So it's like, even though my weight is not changing, my size is changing. My clothes are fitting different. I have had a couple of comments about, hey, you look like you're losing weight, which is wild because I haven't lost weight. It's been minimal. It's been 6 pounds. But even like looking at myself in the camera, I do feel like my face looks a little slimmer. It might be minimal, but it's enough to where I can see it and notice it. So I don't think that I need to adjust quite yet. If I start to notice the measurements stalling out, plus the weight stalling out, then maybe I'm going to be like, okay, so there's no progression being made. I've also heard of people saying that they either gained weight or just very, very slowly lost weight when they were in the healing process. And like I said, I've got a lot of issues that need to be addressed. And so maybe this is just part of the healing time for me. And I just need to be patient and just keep on keeping on. So there is the update as far as weight and measurements up front. And look, I did it before the 10-minute mark, so you still had to listen to a little bit of rambling, but there is that. So back on what I was saying is that comment, after talking to them a little bit back and forth, they were like, I didn't mean to offend you. It may have came across a little bit, like they were trying to troll me, but they're not wrong. Get to the point, and then if you want to continue. So that's this point in the video. I've gotten to the point, and now I'm going to continue because there's other things I want to address. And if you'd like to stick around for that, it's greatly appreciated. But not required. None of it's required. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to anything that I have to say. Okay, so moving on from that, what I was saying about habits. So I had the bad habit a couple of years ago, like going on 4 years ago now. So like pandemic time, of vaping. We had just started up our markets, which I'm an event coordinator, and we had just came up with this idea to start up our own market, and it was kind of because of everything going on in the world. We were involved as vendors in a lot of markets, and then everything shut down. And when everything shut down, it it hurt because, if you've got a small business and you kind of depend on these public spaces to be able to go and let your product be seen and make the sales, and then all of a sudden there are none of these events open, it was a very abrupt stop to our income. And we had to very quickly, come up with some ideas like, okay, so is this the point where um, we go get regular jobs? Because, we have been back and forth self employed now for 6, 7 years. And when I say back and forth, I mean like, we have a catering business, which I consider more than just like a side hustle. Like it's a business. So I mean, we have went back and forth between that and like little side hustles. Um, but at this point now, uh, it was a difficult time. But we were it's really kind of a funny story, but I swear. So we were sitting on our back porch. We have like a little entertainment area on our back porch in July of 2020, and we were actually watching Shark Week, and that was one of our few joys that year. And it was kind of one of those ways to just have something kind of fun to do and just take your mind off of everything going on. And where we live, we have a lot of land, and we were just sitting there, and I was just like, why don't we do it ourselves? I had been to a couple of events that were held at people's residence, like on their property, and they were just using the room that they had to put together these um, events. And this particular one that kind of put the seed in my head was kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So, like, it wasn't a bad event, but at the same time, like, it was just kind of off the beaten path, and it was like, it's a little hard to advertise, a little hard for people to know where to go to actually, like, patron these events, not necessarily vend, but just to find it to come shop, come see what's going on, check out all the activities and everything. So it put the idea in my head that we live in an area, and it's really odd, but I love it. But we have a lot of land, but we are right, and I mean right on the edge of town limits. So we are kind of in the perfect mix where we have kind of the country feel, but we are real close to our town, which our town is small, but we are right close to town. So we were just like, why can't we do it ourselves? I never attempted to put one of these together. I didn't really know what all was entailed. In my head, it seemed pretty simple. Put out an ad, hey, we're going to have an event, and if you would like to be a vendor at our event, contact me. And, you just let people pay you to come and set up their tents and sell. Simple enough, right? Like, I mean, it kind of runs itself. Okay. First of all, I couldn't be more wrong about it runs itself. These events are a huge to do. There's a ton of planning, there's a ton of coordinating, there's a ton of behind the scenes work that goes into these. They are nowhere near as simple as what I had thought they would be until we just kind of jumped in head first. And I learned my lesson the very, very hard way. But I also learned that I really, really enjoy doing that. I enjoy planning out the event. I enjoy booking everything. I enjoy all the logistics of it. It's stressful, but at the end of the day, I think it's the coolest thing ever. And I really, really got into kind of a stride that I was like, okay, like this was meant for me. Like this is my thing. This is my jam. Like, I can do this. And over time, we have just done event after event after event after event. We've gotten bigger and better. And like our last one that we had, or not our last event, but our last big one that we had was in October. And I mean, we had a concert. I mean, it was cool. It was, seeing this big old tour bus pull in and everything. And I was just sitting here going, like, just a few years ago, it was just a crazy idea that rolled through our head while we were sitting on our porch watching Shark Week. And now I've got a flippin' tour bus, guys from Knoxville pulling in a tour bus, and we're having like this little concert and everything out here. And I mean, it was awesome. It was a 2-day event, and I mean, I think we had close to 60 vendors for that one. And I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome. But anyway, on to say, the newly formed stress when we first got into it, me jumping in head first thinking this is going to be easy peasy, and then realizing, oh crap, like there's a lot to this that I never would have considered. And having to basically just learn as we went. And it was stressful, and I was like up here. Once upon a time, I smoked cigarettes. And I know it's terrible. So I kind of got to the point where I would only smoke if we were like going to, a concert, a bar, hanging out, that kind of thing. Not even like just hanging out at home or going to a friend's house, but just, like kind of that bar setting. I would smoke a cigarette and call it a day. Wouldn't think another thing about a cigarette until the next time, weeks or even months later, that we would have like a little outing. So in my head, I was like, okay, I'm the type of person that can have nicotine and just not be hooked on it. Like, it doesn't seem to affect me in that way. So my husband had suggested, and actually went and bought me one of the little disposable vapes. And he was like, maybe if you just have this, when you're hitting that peak of stress, hit it, get a little hit of nicotine, and, calm your nerves, and then go on about your day. And, neither of us, I thought it was a wonderful idea, and neither of us really thought that it would be an issue. Because again, I was able to smoke a cigarette and put it down and not touch another one for weeks or months and not even think about it. Well, were we wrong? I very, very, very quickly became extremely addicted. I'm talking about to the point to where I was carrying around 2 and 3 of these vape sticks on me at all times. Because in my head, one wasn't enough. What if that one quit working on me? What if the battery died? What if it ran out of, the juice in it? Like, I have to have a backup, and then I had to have a backup for my backup. This is how bad these things had gotten into my head. And that was about the time when Elf Bar came on the scene. And Elf Bar, boy, I tell you, them things are highly addictive. Like, they were even worse than the other vape sticks that I was using. And I mean, I had gotten to the point to where we were spending a lot of money on it, and I was like paranoid about, leaving home without them. We had went to Dollywood a couple of times, and I would find myself having to like break away from the family to go find a little smoking and vaping section in the park to get my fix, and then going back and and it was just like it was a problem. It was a bad problem. So I honestly don't remember why exactly. It was just kind of a weird spur of the moment thing, but we had rode up to Pigeon Forge with some friends of ours to go to Dollywood and Splash Country and all that. And I went to a gas station, and a friend of ours, she had went in with us, and she also vaped, and I was buying an Elf bar, and she was like, "Oh, are those good? Like, I've never tried them." I was like, "Yeah, girl, like, these things are great." And so she got one, and something about me being an influence on somebody else, even though she was already vaping, but like being an influence to somebody else, um, buying one of those just didn't sit right with me at all. So I just oddly, just out of the blue, just decided this is my last one. When this thing runs out, I'm not buying anymore. They're expensive, they're addictive. I know I've got a problem, and now my problem's going to become somebody else's problem. Um, so I just told myself, that's it. You're done. You are done. And I was. And it sucked. It was bad coming off those things. I mean, you talking about something that'll put you into a very depressive state of mind. I mean, I was extremely depressed coming off of those things. But I did it. And here I am now, a year and a half later. I have not touched a vape. I have not touched a cigarette. I'm just completely that was it for me. So I've done hard things before, and I've broke bad habits before, but this has been hard too. Like coming off the sugar and carbs and everything has been hard too, but it's been easier than I expected it to be. Okay, so going into the next thing, I got multiple comments from people pretty much trying to warn me, you're not doing the right thing for your body. You're killing yourself. You are, going to be sick. You are being misled. Okay. Here's where I stand on that. So there are people that will purposely try to shame others. I don't know if that's really what this necessarily is, but I've had a lot of comments. And at the end of the day, I just want to just put this out there. One, I'm not a nutrition expert, obviously, and the whole purpose of this channel is to follow me trying to find myself into, or follow, try this again, is following me trying to find what works for me. I'm not saying that being vegan or being a vegetarian doesn't work for some people. I don't know that. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. There are probably people out there that it works just fine. Their body can function on it just fine. And then there's others that can't. I think everybody across the spectrum is different. With that being said, though, I feel like I have to give this little caveat because a lot of people are coming across as I've never tried to eat a vegetable. Okay. Y'all, I come from, and here we go, we're going to really use one of these trigger words for carnivores. I come from a family that later, after I was already like a teenager, matter of fact, it was after I'd actually moved out, was 7-day Adventist. Ooh, I know. Some of the carnivore people just went, yeah. Okay, so they're notoriously vegan vegetarian, and kind of cult-like, to be completely honest. I'm not very versed in it. It's none of my business, but my mother remarried when I was like 15, no, 14. I don't know, somewhere in that ballpark. Teenager enough to where I was just about to move out. And because I moved out at a very young age. A completely other story. But she married into this religion. Okay. And so I was raised with just a standard American diet, and then um, she got remarried. I moved out. I continued eating absolute crap. Um, but she went vegan, vegetarian, back and forth. Sometimes they were just vegetarian. Sorry, sometimes they were just vegetarian. Most of the time they were just vegetarian. My sister, my middle sister, um, she went vegan. Like, she went gung ho vegan. My youngest sister was just vegetarian, and they went through their whole trials, tribulations, and then when I would go around my family and everything, we would eat all the vegetarian stuff. I mean, sometimes it was for long periods of time, and yeah, whatever. So I wasn't raised that way, but I come from a family that's done that. I've been around people personally for long periods of time and seen how it affects their bodies. For my mama and them, I really honestly don't know. They had health issues in the first place, but their health issues definitely did not improve. Being on that type of diet. My sister had severe health issues while being vegan. And, all I can say is I can't say that veganism caused her health issues, but I can say it damn sure didn't heal those health issues. That's my personal experience, and there's no amount of, oh, well, this study shows this or this study shows that will change that experience. Okay. So, with that being said, I also have come to know people that swear up and down that red meat causes their gout and, that causes all these other issues and that you're going to get cancer from it. So, I mean, there's people on all sides of this nutrition spectrum that just hammer back and forth at each other. And this is what causes people to just give up on their diet and not really look into nutrition, because there's so much back and forth and it gets really nasty. But there's just so much back and forth that it's just a whole lot of noise and it's overwhelming. And if you're just trying to look for, I want to try this and see if this works, and if this doesn't work, if I don't like my results in this, well, then I'm going to try this one, and then I'm going to try this one. That's what this channel is. It's just so happened that Carnivore was the first one in the lineup once I decided to actually start documenting. Now, with that being said, I do have an older YouTube channel where I did document whenever I was eating salads out the wazoo. I even tried like a white potato diet. I ate potatoes for like 3 days, just plain boiled potatoes with nothing on them, just plain boiled potatoes, because again, I had come to the realization that you don't know till you try. So I tried and it didn't go well. And, even though it was only 3 days, like, I did not feel good. So, I mean, it's trial and error. And am I doing things 100% right? Probably not. No. But at the end of the day, my goal, I was told to go back and watch my own first video. My goal is just to vlog. My goal is to keep this channel as just my health, nutrition, fitness blog. This is not Alyssa saying, hey, I'm doing this, I'm right, you're wrong, and so I need everybody to follow me. No. This is just like my diary, and I'm saying, hey, I've tried a lot of things. I've ate a lot of different types of diets. I have tried Mediterranean diet. I have tried vegan diet, which was very short-lived. I have tried vegetarian diet at one point in my life. I have eaten standard American diet, but I've also eaten standard American diet where I cook 99% of the time. Lots and lots and lots of veggies. I love veggies. I've tried doing, the more whole foods route where it was no processed foods, and doing the different types of milks that are put out there, the almond milk and the soy milk and the and I mean the high dollar, high quality foods. I've tried. I've tried. So trust me, if I'm sitting here saying that I'm trying the carnivore diet, it's not because I've never picked up a piece of broccoli and put it in my mouth. It's not because I dislike vegetables. I very much enjoy vegetables. This is just simply at the point when I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick up the camera and this is what we're going to do. I had planned to also eventually add in my fitness stuff with this. But right now, I'm going to the little local gym where I, for one, am not comfortable enough to have a camera out, but two, I don't want to make the people in the little local gym uncomfortable either having a camera out. I mean, it's not fair to them to have to sidestep, you know, what I'm doing. It's just no. So if I start doing home workouts in addition, then I plan on recording that. I have many, 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 many videos on my other channel of me doing like the Chloe Teen challenges and the Grow with Joe challenges. And, you know, I have all that. And you know, that's just, that was included in a channel that I had a lot of other content on too, and it just didn't really fit. So when I decided, okay, it's a new year, it's a new diet, it's going to be new experiences, it's a new gym. I just started this gym this year also. I was going to Planet, and now I'm going to a little local gym. So I'm like, this is a great point to start a new vlog, a new channel that's just this, where I'm not putting in all my other stuff. So that is the point of my channel. So please do not get it, you know, in your head that this is a channel trying to tell you how to live your life. In saying that, don't tell me how to live my life, please. Let me just go through this process. Like I told them, I really have high hopes for Carnivore. I've heard a lot of good stuff, and they'll say, oh, well, you can't, that going by testimonials is the worst way. I will just humbly disagree, and this is why. I have to look at who has monetary stakes in whatever they say. If there is money to be made, I do not trust their word as much. So if John gets on here and says, well, I'm a doctor and paid by a pharmaceutical company, and this diet is going to make you healthy. Well, why would John say that? Because John has the pharmaceutical company in his pocket, and if his diet that he recommends makes people sick, then they have to go buy those pharmaceutical companies. Well, pharmaceutical company is paying John. So why would John shoot himself in the foot? Why would John do that to his wallet? See what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that everybody's like that, because that could be on both sides. There could be carnivores that are paid off. But right now, there's not really anybody I'm seeing that's making a whole lot of money on Carnivore. Like, there are some people that are making like coaching money, but I mean, there's life coaches for everything across the board. So it's not just exclusively Carnivore coaches. So in this being said, if Sally, who is just a 50-year-old woman who, you know, just decides to turn on a camera and say, hey, I've started doing this and this has been my results, and, you know, I feel good, and, you know, this health problem I had went away. Well, Sally's not making any money off of that. Okay? So why would Sally have to lie? She's got no stake in it. She's got no benefit to telling stories and lying. Same as me. If this works out for me, well, I'm not making any money off of it. I'm just sharing an experience. So I will take these little people testimonies to heart, because they don't have any reason. And, you know, money talks. They don't have any reason to lie. Now, when you start getting up into the gurus, then maybe I can start seeing where, you know, this becomes a monetary issue, and that there may be some, you know, reason to be kind of careful. Okay? But I'm not stupid. Like, I'm not going to hear somebody say something, you know, if they say, oh, eat nothing but, you know, beef liver and that's it. That's all you need, you know. I'm not going to just jump off the deep end and just go for it. Like, it took me months and months and months of, like, looking into, okay, well, what's the downsides of this? have there been people who have went on carnivore diet and gotten extremely sick? Have there people who have went on carnivore diet and been hospitalized or even died? Have there been people who have done damage that could not be reversed? Well, the answer to that is there really is no evidence either way, because it has not been heavily researched. But it also hasn't been heavily researched what the standard American diet does to you or what the vegan diet does to you. Unfortunately, a lot of these diets have not been as heavily researched from a unbiased, source. So here I am. I'm one little person who is very, very, very confused and just decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to start off with carnivore. We're going to see what happens. If I start having negative reactions to carnivore, best believe it's going to be documented, and I'm going to tell you what my next plan of action is going to be. If I start another diet, well, guess what? That next diet's going to be talked about on my channel. I have no loyalties here. I'm just trying to tell what my experience is. Period. So now, with that being said, I'm not having a bad experience on carnivore. I'm quite enjoying carnivore and I am seeing improvement. So whether or not it tickles everybody's fancy, at the end of the day, my vlog, my experience, my channel. So take it as you will. I had to go off on that tangent because I had quite a few and good conversations. Now, I will say these people did not just come in there and just like put that out there and then just leave. No, I mean, there was a lot of back and forth. And like I told a lot of them too, like, hey, listen, this is not a war. This is not a battle. Like, I'm not trying to go head to head with you. I'm not saying you are wrong. I'm just saying, I don't know. Let me figure it out for myself. And I told them, I said, listen, like, check back in on me. If this is not the channel for you, then, hey, okay, understandable. I'm not sitting here like forcing you to watch me, but check back in on me. If you think that I'm doing it so wrong, check back in on me. Just give it a little while and come back. And then if I'm eating something that's more up their alley, then they can comment and be like, see, I told you so. Whatever. I don't care. But right now, like, I'm good with what I'm doing. I'm good with what I'm doing. I feel good. And like I said, I'm not having weight progress, but I am having actual physical size progress, which is something that I don't really think that I've had a whole lot of in the last many, many years, because I've done nothing but gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. And then finally, just to kind of sum this up, I did want to address one other thing, and this is not really, it's not really unrelated, but it kind of is, and that is my schedule upload. If I am uploading once or twice a week, please let that be enough. Because I have not experienced this personally, but I do see a lot of people that are, one, giving people a hard time that are vlogging like me, giving people a hard time about not going to get blood panels done and tests done, and like vlogging on the regular and everything. We have lives. Like, this is one of 8,000 things that I have rolling around at the same time. And so the simple fact that I'm taking time out of my day to sit down and film a 40-minute video means that I care enough about the people who have taken their time out of their day to watch me, to try to put more content out. But if I do not have the ability to download but one video a week, I try to do two, but if it's only one video a week, please do not think that it's because I am disrespecting your time. Please do not think it's because I do not wish to follow carnivore anymore. Please do not think that it is because I was just trying to jump on board a trend. It's just simply because I am busy. Point blank period, because I've seen a lot of other people hear all of these comments like you don't even care enough about your followers, you're not actually doing carnivore, you don't care about carnivores, but you don't talk about it as much as you used to. And it's people are busy, we have lives. So with that being said, I have spent the last 40 minutes chit chatting, talking. I feel good for just addressing everything. And please feel free to come in the comments and voice your opinions. I'm not going to shut anybody down as long as you're not being like just absolutely hateful or ugly. But if you want to, duke it out in the comments and everything, that's fine. But just understand, like, I'm not here for the the cultist part of this. Like, that's not what I'm here for. This is simply me trying something and just got a video camera following along with me. Okay. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you guys with my next video, which should include um, weight measurements for my 6-week update. So yeah, that's exciting. We're almost hitting 6 weeks, and today is day 40, like wild. But yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.